Hello guys, I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Guys, I've been covering a couple of stories about people trying to take children, and in the most craziest ways and in public places. Don't care if anybody else is around or whatever. They're jumping out and trying to abduct these children. And it's just scary times we in right now. And I want to share a story with you that's, a lot of people are talking about out of, Michigan. And Sterling Heights to be exact. You see this guy right here? This is a young guy, 23 years old. His name is Andy Bala. This guy just pled guilty and is being held in jail without bond for trying to abduct a 7-year-old girl from a park while she was riding her bike. Relatives and everything there. Guy just grabbed her and tried to run off with her. Luckily, a good Samaritan aided in stopping this man. That's not the kick. Prior to that, a couple of hours before, he tried to abduct a teenage girl. 23 years old. Look at him. Take a look at the story and we'll come back and talk about it.
We could see charges as early as tomorrow for 2 attempted abductions Tuesday in Macomb County.
Police say the first happened along Clinton River Road east of Hayes in Clinton Township. Then later that day, the same suspect, police say, tried to kidnap a 7-year-old at a park in Sterling Heights. But that's where one of the city's citizens on patrol stepped in to stop it. Let's get out to Victor Williams. Victor, you spoke to them today. What are they saying about being in the right place at the right time?
Yeah, Pam and Devin, it was a case of exactly that, being in the right place at the right time. This man saw all of this playing out right here at this entrance of this park, and he says he had to do something.
Yeah, definitely still trying to process what happened yesterday. It's not something you see every day.
Scott Van Leuven has been a citizen on patrol for the Sterling Heights Police Department for 14 years, but he's still trying to calm down from being right there when a 23-year-old tried to abduct a 7-year-old at a park in Sterling Heights.
So I told him, you need to put it in park, and then I kind of pulled him out and pushed him up against his vehicle and held him there until police officers arrived.
All this happening while the little girl's aunt and cousin were right there.
The suspect pulls up in the white car, parks, he runs out of the car, runs over to the girl, knocks her off the bike, kind of bear hugs the 7-year-old girl, and then runs back to his car, throws her in the car, and was trying to drive away.
Chief Dale Dwojikowski says the aunt also put up a fight to make sure her niece wasn't taken.
The aunt immediately just completely went into warrior mode, right? Someone's trying to take my niece, this isn't going to happen. That aunt jumps in the passenger side of the car, starts fighting with the suspect. He's trying to drive the car forwards and backwards to shake her out of the car.
It didn't take long for the investigators to connect the suspect to another attempted abduction just 2 hours earlier in Clinton Township, where a 15-year-old was targeted.
We believe it's the same suspect in our case. So then 2 hours later, he ends up in our city trying to do the exact same thing.
Scott, who's a father of 2 daughters himself, is just glad he was right there.
I just feel for the family, and I'm glad I was there to help.
Just a crazy set of circumstances, and thank God that aunt fought. Thank God our Citizen on Patrol member was there, and we stopped a horrific tragedy from occurring.
Now, Good Samaritans were there, the difference makers in both of these incidents, the one with the 7-year-old and the 15-year-old, but coming up at 6 p.m. We're going to tell you guys what exactly you need to do if you find yourself in this situation as a parent and a child, but with no one there. Victor Williams, live in Sterling Heights, Local 4.
Calling case number 24-0796, People versus Andy Bala. Is that your name?
Yes.
Both counsel in the courtroom, your names for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Mark Laws, P85195 for the people. Thomas Spitzer, representing Mr. Andy Bala, Your Honor.
Counsel for Mr. Bala, would you like me to read the charges to your client, or you waive the formal reading?
Your Honor, I've gone over the charges against Mr. Bala with him just so we're all on the same page. The assault and battery, a 90-day misdemeanor, reckless driving, 90-day misdemeanor, and then the kidnapping charge, punishable by up to life in prison. I've gone over those charges with Mr. Bala, explained them to him. He understands the charges. He waives a formal reading of the complaint in court, and he stands mute to those charges, Your Honor.
Not guilty plea will be entered. Does he intend to represent himself, retain an attorney, or is he asking for a court-appointed attorney?
Your Honor, he hasn't gotten a chance to talk to his parents yet, but I'm asking for a court-appointed for Mr. Bala at this time.
Based on the felony status alone, a court-appointed attorney is granted. That attorney will contact you before and be with you at your next 2 court dates. First, a probable cause conference, August 28, 2024, by way of Zoom before your assigned judge, Kimberly Wiegand, at 8:30 in the morning. And if not resolved, an in-person preliminary examination, September 4th, 2024, again at 8:30, this time in person before Judge Kimberly Wiegand. First, counsel for the people, please address the issue of bond.
Yes, Your Honor. I think the court is aware of some of the facts of this case. The case pending in Sterling Heights is the enticement kidnapping of a 7-year-old girl who was riding her bike down the street. It's obviously a very serious charge. In addition to that, I can relay that maybe about an hour ago, the defendant was arraigned on a charge of an attempted unlawful imprisonment in Clinton Township. I believe he got a $2 million bond set there. I would ask, based on the severity of the charges, the behavior of the defendant, I would also like to draw attention to the fact that I am aware of some international travel in the last 6 years from the defendant. I think 3 times to Albania and 1 time to Canada. So there's also, in my opinion, a component of a flight risk. I would ask that, in addition to other bond terms, you order him to surrender his passport, order him to surrender his driver's license. I would ask that he have no contact with any child under the age of 18. I would ask that if he is released on a bond, that he be placed on a steel cuff tether, that he be confined to home, that he have no access to drugs, alcohol, weapons, or firearms. I think an appropriate bond based on the severity of the charges, based on his travel, I think $5 million is appropriate, Judge. Cashier only.
Counsel for Mr. Bala.
Well, Your Honor, look, he's already got a $2 million bond in Clinton Township, he tells me, and he had to surrender his passport. So I think that addresses the concerns that the prosecutor has. He's not going to even be able to make the $2 million bond. He and his family have those means. So to say to make a $5 million in this one is just it's just redundant, not necessarily. I'm asking for a $50,000 10% bond for Mr. Bala.
Well, you would both agree this is subject to no bond as a life felony, correct?
I would agree, Judge.
More than aware of the Clinton Township cases, this is a much more serious charge. I want to order him held without bond. I find him to be a threat to both the public and a threat not to reappear. As a result of that, there will be no bond conditions because I'm ordering him held without bond.
Thank you, Judge.
Counsel, anything further?
No, that's it today, right? Thank you.
Andy, you're all set. You can go back with the officer.
Yes, Your Honor. Can I ask you something, please?
No, don't ask anything today, Mr. Bala. You'll get a court-appointed lawyer. You discuss that with him, okay? Or him or her, okay?
No, I'm asking Your Honor something about the jail stuff, not for my case.
No, don't ask
They
him
not
today.
allow me.
Don't ask him today. Talk with your court-appointed attorney, okay?
Guys, that's the story of this guy, Andy Bala. No bail. That was his arraignment from the other county where he tried to take the 7-year-old girl. Now, the story goes the 7-year-old girl was at Clinton River Park with the 8-year-old son, and which is the cousin of the little girl, and 7-year-old niece on Tuesday when a stranger pulled up in a car between her and the kids and got out. So he separated them two. He went right up behind her. He went out of his car, back around, grabbed her, and then tried to get her into the passenger seat. And we just met right in the middle there, she said. The man was trying to drive off with her niece. Alicia was hanging out of the car's window, struggling with the man getting punched and telling her niece to run and refusing to let him drive off with her. I'm telling her to get out get out. It was insane. It was insanity, she said. Now, the Good Samaritan, whose name was Scott Van Leeuwen, man, he get respect. Because they said he was he was heading home from work when he saw Alicia struggling with the driver, and he cut the guy off. He said he saw the car run over her 8-year-old son who was trying to stop the man. So they're saying the car ran over the boy. This is a mess. Listen, they said the guy that stopped him, that older man, was 6'5", like 260. I would have beat this young boy to death out there. Not even if it was my kid, just knowing what he was trying to do. You running up on strange people's children, trying to abduct them, knowing that, you know, you ain't supposed to be out there, period. And then you do it craftily too. Use your car as a dividing, you know, something to divide them so you could snatch. You had that plan as you was driving up. Then you try to take somebody else's teenage daughter. They need to let the fathers of these 2 daughters tear this guy apart. Seriously, you touching people's kids, you don't think nothing to happen to you? These dudes are so driven by whatever forces are governing them to want to do this type of stuff that they don't even care about the risk. What a risk need to be brought to them when their plans fail. These fathers need to start busting these dudes upside the head. And I mean, I cannot imagine something like this. Could you imagine the horror of somebody running up and grabbing your child while you in front of them? For a second, it would make you pause like, what the? Of course, it goes against all rational thought. All people protect their young. All animals protect the young. And these dudes running up, grabbing kids, thinking they're going to get away. I wonder if it was a man there, would he had still tried to do that? A lot of times I think these guys be so turned up, they got tunnel vision. He probably ain't even see the woman there. Or he probably was like, oh, she can't hurt me. You run up, and then like these are all a couple of hours apart. So the first time he tried to do it with the older teenage girl, it didn't work. He's still out there in the street trying to achieve the objective because he's so turned up in wanting to accomplish what he want to accomplish. I guarantee you, if he had caught any of them kids, you know what I'm saying? They would have probably never been returned. See, because these people know they doing wrong. And then when they do this, they want to cover up the crime and not get caught. If they desperate enough to grab a strange child, they desperate enough to get rid of the evidence to where they can do this again and again and again. This is crazy. I mean, back in the 80s, early 90s, this was prevalent. You've seen it a lot. Then it seemed like it tailed off. Now it's back and it's like stronger than ever. Ain't no way people just jumping out the car, grabbing people. I told y'all that a while ago, but last year when we started covering these type of scores, I said, man, it's getting bigger and bigger and people are getting bolder and bolder. I said, it's gonna be nothing to see a woman or man walking down the street and somebody just grab them. Pull up, jump out, just grab them. Because most of the time people look. Gotta start taking care of each other, man, for real. I mean, this is horrific, and I want you to think about something. I did a story yesterday about the dude that jumped out the white truck and tried to run after a group of kids and just grab whatever one he could. How you think these children sleep at night? How you think they think when they think back at this and when they're older and they understand the immediate, imminent danger they was in, the type of PTSD they'll go through? What about when they have children, how overprotective they'll be? Just sitting back and calming down. This was a couple of days ago. You know they going through it right now. Both the 7-year-old and the 15-year-old girl. Because look, God knows where I would be 48 hours ago to now, if I would even be breathing or not, because some stranger tried to attack me and take me away. That's why I said, catch these dudes, I'd beat them to death. I'd take my chances. You know not to touch nobody's kid or anybody for that matter. Crazy. I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. This is a big case. I doubt they put this guy in population. If they do, they'll keep him locked up in a cell because in jail, somebody are trying. I know I would if I was there and I found out he did it. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. And one more thing before I get out of here. How you think his family feel? Did you notice in the arraignment, the guy said, yeah, he ain't got the money. He ain't got $2 million and his family ain't got $2 million. Can you imagine how the family feel after hearing the news their son did some perv stuff and how all the neighbors look at him now? Even though they didn't do it, their son did, so it cast a shadow on them as well. And that's the thing, these people be doing some of the most heinous crimes, and a lot of times they was raised well, and all of a sudden now the shadow of them with their silliness goes on the parents. It's a shame, just something to think about. Thanks for listening.